AITA for returning all the presents I got and buying my own. Because I'm tired of receiving what I feel are thoughtless gifts from everyone. I try to not be spoiled, but my whole life I haven't felt thought of in the gifts I receive. I never show it, and always act thankful to be polite. The gifts I give others are always personalized. If I haven't been asked for specific items, I listen and use their hobbies and interests to make sure Thera hit. One of my favorite things was the shot of Euphoria when they opened their present and were speechless. Then it comes time for me to open gifts and it's a generic set of headphones, much worse than the ones I own in colors I hate. A face wash and candle set I can never use with sensitive skin and allergies. A mug with a weird meme on it that is no inside joke between us that won't fit in my cabinet with a matching set already inside. I'm tired of feeling like the coworker you don't know that you picked for office Secret Santa. I stopped hoping they finally listened or got me something from a list I specifically gave in case they couldn't be asked to put thought and effort into it. I can't think of a gift I've received that wasn't donated or stuffed in a box in storage. Yet every gift I've given others is still on display, used, talked about, or complimented when seen. Why don't I deserve that effort? My friends are so great in every other way. My DH loves me endlessly and there's no other area I feel we're lacking. So why don't they try and get me something from my interests? Why am I unwrapping a clearance tea set when I'm a coffee drinker? We all sent out lists again weeks back, and my DH said he was already done his shopping and excited to wrap my gifts. I was hopeful this time he got something from my list. While tidying, I found a stash with candy, a pair of cheap slippers in a pattern I'd never wear, a Macu travel bag with a tacky slogan, "Slay all day" on it. I despise quotes on anything, and it's well known, and a pair of gloves. I just felt deflated. I felt sunken in on myself. I realized I'd never get the joy of opening a gift and being blown away by its thoughtfulness. I cracked. I told everyone I wasn't doing gifts this year and to return anything they got me because I didn't have the money and wanted to be fair. It's true, I don't have the money to waste $1,000 plus on personalized gifts for everyone. Just to feel disappointment, I cancelled all my orders, returned all the items I got and bought things off my own list. Using those funds, I wrapped them and put them under the tree to me from me. DH is hurt. Friends are disappointed. Family has told me how spoiled, entitled and petulant in being. I think they're just mad they aren't going to get gifts from me this year that they boast about and post online and get tons of comments about how cool it is this year. I'm getting what I want, and going forward this may even be my tradition forever. So I finally get things I'd like. But as Christmas gets closer, I'm starting to feel guilty and ashamed for what I've done. Am I the asshole? Edit. Few things I should clear up. 1. All I said to my family was that I won't be participating in gift exchange this year due to my budget. I didn't mention that it's because I don't like their gifts. My own parents are the ones assuming that is why, because they have the largest track record for being the worst at gifts for me and have been called out on it. Example being last year they got me a bunch of tea when I hate tea and love coffee. I left the tea behind and nicely said I wouldn't drink it, but my mother would and should keep it. I was told I'm ungrateful and expect to be catered to. 2. No one knows about the gifts I got myself or will see them except my husband. Due to the pandemic, we don't be seeing family in person this year. 3. While I did return everyone's gifts this year, that does exclude all my husband's. I usually get him quite a few, but I cancelled about half of them. He'll still get 5 to 7 or so, and I made sure I didn't get myself more than I got him to unwrap. DH equals dear husband. I'm going to say NTA. I actually know exactly what you mean, because I feel pretty much the same way. I really try very hard to select gifts that will please the receiver, but it seems that no one else bothers. Since you've told everyone else that you're not gifting this year, it seems fair. Do get something thoughtful for your hubby, and try to explain to him that it will be much easier if he just buys from your list in the future. This sounds like me, kind of. To be honest with my husband, I tell him everything I like, but he ignores the list and gets me stuff he thinks I like and will use. It's really annoying. I'm thinking I'm going to be a smart ass one year and get him a hammer or a box of Kleenex and say I think you could use it. I told my husband 1 year after years of this that I loved him, but I made a list because I didn't want a bunch of shit I didn't like. His response was to buy me a shit-shaped sparkly energy pillow and some things I did not want. but then followed it up with a gift card cause he knew he was being an ass lol. The years since have been hit or miss. This year I've bought something small for myself, and I plan on wrapping it and putting it under the tree myself, haha. So the gift card balanced out the gag gifts. Gift cards do make more sense, as the recipient can choose what to get, especially if it's a non-specialized store like Target. Hobbies can be hard to shop for if the giver doesn't know the industry or the recipient's collection. For impersonal gifts, maybe like a coworker or cousin you aren't close with. Close bracket. If someone close to me got me gag gifts and a gift card, I would be quite disappointed. If they got me something small they knew I would like, and a gift card, assuming they wanted to give a big gift, not just a small one, which is also fine. That would be wonderful. But a gag gift and a gift card hold together a sum total of zero thoughtfulness. I'm torn on this. I play a really expensive hobby slash sport, roller derby, that requires a ton of custom slash specialized gear at my level. I would backslash love if a family member got me a gift card to a gear shop so I could upgrade my equipment kit. If they tried to get me a specific item, it would likely be the wrong size, not what I need right now, a color that doesn't go with the rest of the kit, etc etc. I think in some cases, gift cards can be perfect. Not all circumstances though, of course. Like the op said, it's all about the thoughtfulness and context. Edit. This was meant to be a reply to someone. They get them similar things, except those things apply to who they give them to. Niece loves candles and lotions, so she's happy to get them. Uncle has a cabinet full of funny mugs and plates, so he's glad to have more for his coffee and collection. Mill always tends to her garden in her house shoes, so she goes through them like crazy. So slippers for her are just great. Bill is the game master of our family, so card games and stuff are perfect for him, man. He never has enough. It makes more sense to give him a gift of than to gift me it. And yet that was one do my gifts last year. It's the same thoughtless items, except they're thoughtful when given to the right person. It's hard for me to explain the feeling I'm trying to convey. I get it. I love the Avengers. So my mother-in-law got me a Wonder Woman novelty apron and I love it for the effort she put in. I don't think she noticed that it's Wonder Woman's cleavage and figure. She just saw superheroes. My daughter-in-law loves baking and superheroes, and I will never tell her that I prefer Marvel to DC, or that it's naughty. She would be so embarrassed because she is trying. And she remembered this detail about me, even if she didn't understand it. The trying is what's so important. The whole it's the thought that counts only works when there is a thought. I've gotten not great gifts that I still appreciated because I could see the thought process. One of my roommates got me a snake print tub top from one of those cheap clothing sites. Now I don't wear tube tops, and at the time didn't do snake print. But I do love snakes and risk wear clothing. So I could still feel the thought put into it and really appreciated the gift. Meanwhile, one year I got 2 different art sets from family members, including my mother. I hate art. I'm bad at it. To the point it was always my worst grade in elementary school, which, yeah, I've got to be pretty bad to get a bad grade on macaroni art. I felt really dejected that year because those were my big gifts, and it was so clear no one thought about my interests. I totally get what you're saying. I learned long ago that I was putting way more effort into gifts than my family was for me, and I felt like it said a lot for how they felt about me, or at least how thoughtless they were. One year, when I was a teenager, I had a job, and I spent a lot of time finding the perfect gift for each person in my family. I put a lot of thought into each gift, and they were a hit. I always put effort into my gifts, and they would always say that I give the best gifts. Anyway, this year in particular, as I enjoyed their reactions to my gifts, I realized that I had opened all the ones with my name on it. I looked at my pile, and it was nothing but stuff like you named. Shower stuff, like body wash, scented lotion, body spray, which I couldn't use because I have sensitive skin and asthma, socks, etc. Stuff that you would buy if you had to get a gift for a stranger. I know Christmas is about giving, but it really made me feel like I cared more about my family than they cared about me. AWW, I'm sorry that happened, that must have felt shitty. Hope your Christmas this year is much better. Reading these comments, it seems that people whose love language is gifts really need some extra care around Christmas. NTA. It's been this way my whole life. Until my 5-year-old daughter puts some serious thought into my gifts. She's gotten me new gardening tools, since I love gardening. A new children's book, since I love reading to my kids. It seems selfish, but she knows I genuinely love reading to them, and thought it would make me happy it did. And a Rudolph mug for my hot chocolate, since I like Rudolph, and I don't have a mug. Request resolved, specifically because this does not seem to be about gifts. Does it feel like your family doesn't truly know you at other times? Or do you usually feel seen, but they just give bad gifts? Edit. NTA. Your family has taken you for granted. And now that you are putting your foot down, their entitlement is truly showing. If they can't be bothered to treat you well, then treat yourself well. Bit of both. I know my immediate family doesn't truly know me. I feel my in-laws do more so. So it actually hurts more when gifted something generic. At least with my parents it's the sting of, and once again they don't put effort. Whereas with my other side it's a bit of a deeper cut. My dad bought me the same crappy metal men's wallet that holds 4 credit cards and no cash every year for about 10 years. Who cares what parents buy their adult children? Probably people who've had good gifts before. I'm going to go with NTA because I know how you feel, although many of my friends can't even bother to give gifts to me in return. It just wears on you when you put out such a high level of effort and it doesn't get reciprocated in the least. Did you try honest communication with everyone prior to cancelling Christmas? It may have been hard for them to hear that their gifts are always missing the mark, but you do deserve to get things you can actually use or like. Try giving everyone another chance next year to see if they got the message. The one I was most honest with was my husband. I've told him how it kind of hurts when I gift him a custom made figurine battle scene of his favorite characters I spent forever designing and commissioning, and am given a gift card to a Macube store I don't go to and a hat in a style very much not me. He apologizes and says he'll try harder, and I know it hurts him because he truly does think he's putting tons of thought in. It's harder for me to broach it with others because I don't want to come off like I'm not thankful or I'm spoiled. I have piped up when it's something I literally cannot use, like candles because of my migraines. And the next year I got another candle from someone who had been there and forgot. It just stinks. To be clear, only my husband knows I got myself gifts. Everyone else thinks I just backed out of doing gifts at all this year, and my parents are the main ones crying I'm a brat and guessing why. I think you should be honest with your parents. If they can't even get you something off of a list, it's because they made the decision that you weren't a priority. Are they this bad at getting gifts for others? Like, does your husband and parents give other family members crappy / generic / unuseful gifts? Or is it just you because they know you're generous and they think they can get away with it? This is such a sore spot because I was always told by my family growing up that you don't get what you ask for. Then that isn't a gift. A gift is what they want to get you that they think you'd like. I always loathed it. I'd try to bargain for better gifts as a kid by only asking for one item and hoping the trade-off would work, since they'd save money. I'd say stuff like, "Mom, instead of a bunch of gifts can I just get X this year? That's truly all I want." And then it'd be hollered at about how entitled I was. I'd wake up Christmas and unwrap 10 presents of things I never wanted or asked for instead of just one thing I would have liked. I think that's why Thief caught onto what I'm doing this year. Because last year I left behind the tea set I was given because I don't like tea. I told them they should keep it. When I became an adult I think I overcorrected. I started going above and beyond for other people, trying to show what I thought gifts should be and prove to them that unlike my parents, I listened and cared about what they wanted. I silently hoped it would reflect back on what I received. Too. Year after year it was much of the same. When I was growing up we weren't allowed to celebrate any holidays or birthdays, and so gifts didn't happen often at all growing up. We still had nice things and got everything we needed but no gifts. So I totally understand the urge to go above and beyond every year on gifts, and I too love giving amazing gifts and seeing people get excited. But I have to say, Even though the people in my life rarely put as much effort as I do into gifts. I honestly can't imagine my friends and family putting the absolute non-amount of effort into gifts that your family has shown. Even some of the worst gifts I've ever gotten still showed that the person who got them knew something about me. Like last year I got a t-shirt that featured a character that I hate, but from a show that I love, and I was still happy because at least they remembered that much about me, yeah no? NTA. Some of my family does the same. And I talk about my interest a lot. Like how hard is it to buy a jar of buttons? It feel like sometimes they go so women. Let's get a blanket. Fuzzy socks and a scarf. Done no matter how many times I say I'm allergic to polyester. I'm torn with judgment here because, according to you, literally everyone you know is a bad gift giver. Friends, husband, parents and extended family. And that is literally not possible, that these unrelated groups are all doing the same thing. The only commonality they have is you. So, info, what kinds of gifts would you like? That's why I felt so torn with my own actions. Am I the common denominator? But to be honest, the majority is family. I don't trade gifts with many friends. It's my family and my husband's family that has been the worst. Anything that shows they thought of me specifically for my gift. I always get the sense the gifts given are random things picked up with "this could be gifted to someone for Christmas" in mind, but never aimed towards me. I wouldn't even mind a mug if it had something on it towards an interest of mine. Even a fluffy blanket would be nice for when I'm reading. A bookmark? Fancy coffees? Nail polish? Everyone knows I'm obsessed with nail art. A nice journal. A plant. Artwork by this local artist I love and display everywhere. Books. Seashells. Crochet stuff. Anything merch from any media I enjoy. Baked goods made from scratch would feel so loving. I just want to feel like my gift had me in mind. I felt sunken in on myself. I realized I'd never get the joy of opening a gift and being blown away by its thoughtfulness. I cracked. This right here is the one that got me. It reminds me of another year. Much like the one you describe. When my baby cousin comes up and hands me this tiny little package that's smaller than a deck of cards. It was a teeny tiny Harry Potter coloring card set with an easel. She'd seen me wear a Ravenclaw shirt once and thought it might be something I liked. Everyone assumed my smile was because she was the baby cousin. But it was because that was the one thing that actually had a thought behind it. Those stupid paper cards meant more than all the rest put together. NTA. Holy smokes. I could totally relate to this. But I have never broken the streak by "find what you did" because I'd be asking myself the same thing and feeling guilty. I'd just continue to go out of my way to get my loved ones thoughtful gifts and either expect nothing or something very generic and be polite about it. I remember my bridal shower/wedding. I created few registries so that my friends could pick from different things/different budgets. Not a single thing was bought from the registries. I'd received items that didn't fit me, and some items were ordered online but sent to my family's house. After I'd left the country, I married a Canadian and left for Canada the day after our wedding. I didn't want to sound like an ungrateful friend, but I wish I'd gotten nothing instead. I'm just a proud internet stranger, but I'm proud of you for putting yourself first this year. NTA. NTA. I totally get it. I love finding special and thoughtful gifts for people, and was frustrated when I felt like an afterthought. The only person who consistently tries to get something special to me is my dad. My mom is someone who always gives people what she thinks they should like and not what they'll actually be into. And my sister is kind of self-absorbed. I will say, my husband has started making an effort to be better. Last year we moved to a new state just before Christmas, and it was my first time celebrating without my parents and sister. My husband actually called my aunt and got the recipe for a cake my grandma used to bake at Christmas every year. He and my daughter baked it for me while I was out doing some shopping. He had even bought the ingredients on his own. I usually do the grocery shopping because certain ingredients would have been a dead giveaway. I promptly burst into tears, which alarmed him because I'm not a super outwardly emotional person. but then I sobbed that I was so happy because it was so thoughtful and unexpected. I think that finally he got to experience how special it is to get something for someone that hits them in just the right spot. Since then, I actually received both birthday and Mother's Day gifts without having to remind him ahead of time. And they were things that I totally liked and probably wouldn't have gotten for myself. So there is hope. NTA. If a friend/family member didn't want to do a gift exchange, I'd respect that. I might message you in private. Check on your physical and mental health. Maybe delicately make sure your finances were doing okay. Be a listening ear. I might even say that's so disappointing. You give such fabulous gifts. But I understand and hope you're doing well. Did anyone check in with you kindly? Myself honestly love her. And I think if I was to be given a thoughtful gift it would mostly likely come from her. If she ever drew my name, did message me and asked if I was doing well. She sees all the love I put in gifts and knows it was something I enjoyed doing. And she also knew I had some health stuff going on recently too. I thanked her for checking in. Told her I loved her to pieces, but I didn't have the money or energy to do gifts this year. It wasn't a total lie. She understood. If you enjoy watching these videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video. Thanks.